Hey, Mercedes W208 and actually W202. It's fall, as you can see, because shite's falling from the sky. What we're going to do today, because I have a mini truck, but I'm going to be getting rid of it because I don't drive it enough to justify having it. So I'm going to need something to occasionally tow motorcycles and small stuff with a trailer. And I'm going to be installing a trailer hitch on the W208 CLK. And there's a trailer hitch made specifically for this. You can order them from Europe. They have spot-on made ones in Europe. I think this one was $155. It's a Kurt trailer hitch made specifically for the W208 and W202. It may actually fit the W203, but it doesn't say so on... It said on the website that it did, but it doesn't say so in the instruction manual. Anyway, the number of it is... Oh, let me get the installation package. It is a 11815 from Kurt Manufacturing, C-U-R-T, and they make the trailer hitch. They also make, in that box, is the wiring harness that is not going to screw with your lights and light sensors and all that stuff. It's about, I think it was about $35. So about 200, and I think with shipping, taxes, blah, 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 about 220. That's Canadian. And again, this is specifically made for the W208 and W202. Got little brackets that come with it. You're going to have to drill 4 7/16 holes, and the hardware that comes with it, and the instruction manual, which is basically a piece of paper and a template for drilling the holes. So there's the piece of paper, and there's the template. And it says on here, installation time professional 30 minutes, novice 60 minutes. So that means about 6 hours probably, more than likely. I don't know. I'm figuring about an hour because I've never done one on one of these before. Anyway, I'm going to get everything set up, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, one of the first things you have to do is remove, you can either remove the rubber hangers from the exhaust pipe from the stock muffler. There's one up under there, and there's one on each side, on either side of the tailpipe. They're a bitch to wrestle those things off, but they're just, each one's held on by a 13 millimeter bolt, so it's going to be a lot easier just to take the 13 millimeter bolt out of each one of those. So you don't want to watch me take two 13 millimeter bolts out, so back in a minute. And anyway, the reason for taking this out is the muffler's got to lower a little bit because the hitch fits back in the space between the bumper and the spare tire carrier here. It fits in that spot back here and goes basically back up behind the muffler. So we're going to have to get this kind of a little bit out of the way in order to get to it. Anyway, back in a minute. Okay, so you can see the two exhaust bolts are out. I have to be spraying some rust-proofing cripe up there. Anyway, I still didn't have quite enough room. So the third exhaust mount back here, the one just in front of the fuel tank, I just grabbed it. I just undid the rubber on that. Actually, I'll show you. I've been using this for a while. One of those cheapo brake spring plier tools for doing brake springs and old drum brakes. Those are great for pulling these rubbers. You just kind of slip the pointy end in, and then the other end grabs it. You just yank and pull it off. It works really well for it instead of trying to use a screwdriver to pop it sideways. Anyway, it's a pair of brake spring pliers, and I just threw a jack stand under there to support the weight of the muffler so it's not all being held in the front by the catalytic converters. And now we should have enough room to get back in under here. As you can see right there, I'm going to touch it with the light. That's where I'm touching. Where that heat shield is, that's where the two bolts for the driver's side are going to be drilled through. So, yeah, what a pain in the ass. How am I going to drill that? My drill's small, but not quite that small. Ew, I don't have a right angle. We'll figure it out. Anyway, it does sandwich the heat shield between the frame and the hitch mount itself. So you'll be drilling through the heat shield and the frame, and basically bolting it all up together. So that's why I have to get the muffler down out of the way. Actually, it might not be quite far enough. But anyway, I'll let you know. I will be back in a minute. Okay, a bit of an impasse here because this part of the instruction shows this crossbar right here mounting inside the frame rail here. But it shows the frame rail being open on this side, which it's not. It's a fully boxed frame rail. And as you can see on the picture, it shows a C-section frame rail that mount is supposed to go through. Everything else is absolutely fine. Everything else is going to fit up. But I have absolutely no freaking clue how this is supposed to work. But I'm wondering if this boxed frame rail is open. Light. Not good. Get some light. If this boxed frame rail at the back where it goes into the bumper, see where it ends off there? Maybe if I pull the bumper off, it is open. And I can slide that mount in there. Doesn't say anything on the instructions about having to remove the bumper. Remember, the instructions said half an hour. I don't frickin' see that happening. It's already been an hour of me just sitting here going, what the hell? So, yeah, short of cutting the back wall off of that rear frame rail, it's not open on the bottom, it's not open anywhere. Come on, stay there, light. It's not open underneath, beside the battery, it's not open anywhere. There's no opening in it. This has got a welded plate on the back here that probably didn't exist on the first generation of cars. I don't know. This welded. Maybe if I cut that off, I can always cut that and re-weld it. That would probably be my easiest bet as opposed to pulling the damn bumper off. It's just a couple of tack welds. But I don't know. I'll let you know what I do. Okay, so day 2, unfortunately. I did check online those two little, I don't know, some of the body parts places online. Those two little panels, they are Canada only. It's $45 worth of steel, 220 some odd dollar parts that weld in to make a Canadian car. Isn't that nice? Anyway, cut out your little template, put it up underneath the body, right in the back little corner here, and I pre-drilled, I marked the two little holes, which I'm now going to drill out, and I've got the drill size in my bit. I'll look at it and tell you the size when I'm done here back in 1 second. I'm just going to drill these two holes out. Okay, I started out with a couple of pilot holes, and now I'm finishing off with a 1/2 inch drill bit. Hoping I can do this with one hand. Let me put a stupid camera and mount it down somewhere. Okay, actually this bit's kind of dull. I'm going to sharpen it on my sharpener and finish up these two holes. Anyway, you can see them most of the way through. I said, the bit's just a little bit dull, so I'm gonna sharpen it back in a minute when those are poked through. So now that I've drilled the 2 holes in the bottom, which are the ones that are going to match up with these 2 on the back, I've got to get this back down inside the frame channel. Why is this thing not lightening up properly? Come on, you're supposed to auto lighten, prick. So if you're unlucky enough to be in Canada doing this, you'll be doing what I'm doing, trying to weasel this down into this frame channel past this 3-kilometer bumper saver. There we go. Slide that back. And I'm going to go underneath and see if it lines up. So let's put the flashlight inside. And see if we can see the light coming through both. And we can. You can see it lining up there. Through the 2 holes. So now it's just a matter of grabbing the bolts and putting them in from the top with the washers. And for me, this is not going to be fun because I'm going to have to get my hand down. Fuck off. Excuse my language, sorry about that. Just getting a little sick of this. I'm gonna have to get my hand down. Let me see if I can get you down in there to see. I can't see it, but maybe you can. Stick the camera down there. I should get my borescope and take a look down there. But I don't have time for that crap. Anyway, I'm gonna work those 2 bolts down. Probably have to use a little magnetic pickup tool to get them in there. Again, if you're not in Canada, this is going to be a breeze for you because you won't have this stupid plate in the way. I'm going to put those 2 top bolts in and be back in a minute. Okay, my apologies. I got the passenger side of the bar on here, which was an absolute freaking nightmare getting those bolts through from inside. I had to tape the bolts to a 17mm wrench and then feed them through the hole. And anyway, I eventually got them through, and I thought I had the camera on and I didn't, and I'm not taking them off to redo it again. So anyway, now that I've got these on, I can align it with the other side, mark my holes, and drill. So I will show you that once I've marked the holes on the driver's side or the left side of the car and drill. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so I'm just drilling a pilot hole through. Once I've squared up the mount, I squared it up back by the rear bumper to make sure it was square, and you're gonna have to drill through. There's 2 holes in the bottom of the mount. The second one does go straight through the heat shield and sandwiches the heat shield through the chassis rail. So I'm gonna drill these 2 holes, pilot holes, and then I'll drill the bigger holes, and we'll be back in a few minutes once I've drilled those holes out. Ever feel like you just want to kill somebody? Again, in Canada, this panel here that covers up the C channel, I gotta grind this prick off too in order to get to the 2 bolts because they come through the bottom, through under there, and this stupid fricking panel is in the way. Ugh. Must kill. So I've got to grind along this seam, along this seam, and pry that out to get into there. Yeah, back in a bit. Okay, well, now that ridiculous 2km/h panel is, I checked it again. 2 kilometers an hour, that's what this crap is for 2km/h low-end collisions. Anyway, Canada, this is what you're going to be facing if you got to do this. Anywhere else in the world, you're golden. Anyway, you can see the hole, the 2 pilot holes I drilled. You can see the second one. The second one at the back there. Maybe. Yeah. So I'm just going to drill those through from the bottom, and then Mr. Mounting Plate here goes on, and then 2 holes get drilled straight through, and the whole thing, I don't know which way it goes. I think it goes the other way. Anyway, yeah. Oh shit, are you telling me that bottom lip has to come off too? Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, maybe this whole bottom lip's got to come off. Oh, I'll let you know. Ugh. Okay, thank God, bottom lip doesn't have to be removed. I'm not welding that patch panel back on this one. I am, because it's the inside of the little pocket. So, okay, next step is, you can see the two top holes in the, oh, come on, light. See those two top holes in the brace there, 1, 2, and a drill through there, and that bolt straight through again through the exhaust shield to the outside. And the final one will be, final bolts will be over here, if my light will stay in place. Come on, magnetic means magnetic. These bolts go through here, but this brace piece inside, I don't know if you can see close enough. Yeah, you probably can't. It's there's a little space about 2-3 millimeters in between that bracket because of the stud on the ground stud there. So the kit came with a couple of spacers to put between this metal wall of the rear frame arm. So there's little studs, there's little spacers that go between there and the brace inside there. So I don't know how the hell I'm gonna get those in there. They're gonna be fun. Yay, there's my finger. Anyway, that's basically about it. These two holes came pre-drilled. They're already in the chassis, so yay, no holes to drill on that. But these two on the other side are the last two. And then it's going to be wiring, but all this fiddling around with cutting panels out and stuff has taken all day because I don't have a cutoff wheel. I can't find one. I bought like 6 of them 2 weeks ago. Can I find them? No. Why would I be able to? So I've been using a grinding wheel, which really fucking sucks. Anyway, I'll just show you this when it's all bolted up and done. There's the hitch as it sticks out a little bit from the bumper, I guess. Not that much, but enough. But what do you do? If you need a hitch, you need a hitch. Anyway, I'm going to finish this up and I'll show you when it's all done. Okay, so panel welded back on. This one left open. I think I'm retelling you, but anyway, there's the trailer hitch on. It's just bright light, so I figured I'd show you this again. These are the cross member bolts that go along that one chunk that extends along the frame rail on the passenger side. And that's about it. It is time for wiring, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've got my painless wiring adapter here, which I'm assured will not screw up with the Mercedes electrical system. Let's hope not. Anyway, so what I'm going to start with is removing the back panel. I've already got a bunch of the clips out because I had taken it out when I was doing the hitch. And they simply there's a bunch of little square. Can't do it with my left hand. Come on. These little suckers just pop up. Well, they do. You stick a screwdriver in each side and pop them up. There's a whole bunch of them all along here, so pop all those up. I need 2 hands to do this because I gotta kind of push back on this. It's not in there 100% properly right now. I just put a few in there, but it's really, really jammed in, so it's not properly aligned. That's why they're not popping up nicely with the screwdriver with one hand. So anyway, I'm going to pull that out and be back in a minute because I want to run the wiring underneath that, so the wiring's not anywhere out in the open, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've gone through and I've found all the wires that I need. I'll put a list on the description of the video. I just used an electrical tester and probed the back of the lights when you know, when I had the turn signals on, when I had the brakes on, blah, 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 to find out which wire was which. So now I've gotten written down, and now that's out of the way, I'm going to unhook the negative battery cable. Again, I think I've mentioned this probably 100 times before, but always unhook the negative battery cable. Don't unhook the I mean, you can unhook the positive after, but unhook negative first, always. And make sure you have your vehicle codes all ready, your radio code and stuff, because you're not going to be using it afterwards if you don't. And then you'll have to reset your power windows and your power locks and all the other stuff, reset the limits on them, but that's no big deal. It takes about 2 minutes. Okay, so negative battery disconnected, and unhook the tester because I don't need this anymore. Okay, I'm going to get the wiring all ready, and I will be back in a minute. So the wires you're going to need left turn signal, right turn signal, brake, tail light, and power and ground. And that's about it. So anyway, I'm going to be back in a minute once I get all the wiring ready, so you're not having to watch me prepare and everything. Okay, this is the lighting module that I'm using, lighting converter. It's again from Kurt. It's a 56146. This is the one for Mercedes. I think my lens is dirty. 1 second. Anyway, it came with the crimp-on connectors, which I've used before a lot of times, but I don't like using them on a Mercedes with the sensitive electrical load, so I'm not going to use these. Chuck those. I'm going to be using, shrink and seal butt connectors. So I'm going to be cutting the wires, and if you've ever seen these are the greatest connectors, electrical connectors you can get. In the center, you see there's a silver ring, that is solder. You connect the wires, run it straight through the middle, and center it on the solder. When you heat it up with a heat gun or a lighter, why is this not focusing? Come on, focus. It melts the solder. The solder will solder the wires, and then in each side, that side and that side, there is glue. These are marine grade as well. So the glue will, as well as shrink, it'll shrink the rubber, and the glue will glue the wires and hold it in, and it's not coming off. So anyway, these are what I'm going to be using. I've unplugged the tail light connector from this one is the one on the driver's side, and just slightly unwrapped the cloth tape a little bit. And if you can see the connector here, there are 5 wires to it. This is the ground. That I think is tail light. No, is it tail light? Black and gray. It's tail light, yes. Tail light. Black with white stripe is turn signal. Black with red is brake light. Purple is the other tail light, because there's 2 tail light bulbs on here. And, yes, correct. Anyway, so I'm going to, it's basically these 3 center wires are the ones I'm going to be using. So I'm going to cut those and get ready to splice them, and be back in a minute. I'm going to cut them about 3 or 4 inches from the connector, down around there, and then splice them back together with the new wiring spliced in. So anyway, I'm going to cut those and be back in a minute. Another quick tip, if you have the length for them, the room for it, if you're putting splicing, this is depending on what you're doing, any type of electrical connection. You don't want to cut all the wires in the exact same length, because then you're going to get all these electrical connectors piled up side by side by side, and they make a big bundle, which is impossible to tuck in. So if you cut the wires different lengths, then you'll have an electrical connector here, one up here, and one here, and they will not bunch up as much. There'll be, just a wider spot in different lengths down the wiring loom, which is a lot easier to control and wrap up and tuck in places. Anyway, like I said, I've cut these, so now I'm just going to strip the wire back, and we'll be back in a minute. Oh, sorry. Zoom on there. That's lighter soot, but as you can see, it's soldered here. This is melted, and again, there's glue inside there that is glued that together, and it's shrink wrapped, and that's a nice tight connection. So I'm just going to do all three like that, and then we're going to move to the other side. I don't know if it's shrunk all the way on that one edge. Let's see. It did. I'm going to try and get it a little closer for you, get some of that soot off. But yeah, you can see that it soldered itself right there in the middle. You can see that it's soldered. And nice connection that is soldered, glued, and shrink wrapped all in one operation. So if you get a chance to get some of those, get them. They are the greatest connectors you can use. Anyway, I'm going to do the other two, and then I'll go back to the other side and be back in a minute. Okay, so the left side, driver's side in Canada, in the United States anyway, or wherever you drive on the left side of the road. Could be France, Germany. Anyway, left side is wired up and done. The left side has because I mean, it depends on which side you want to mount this on, because the right turn signal comes with a long lead. Makes sense to, it's the only one that's long. Makes sense to mount this on the left side and then just run this to the right side, because all of the wiring you're going to need is whichever side you're going to mount it on, other than the opposite side turn signal. So you can get your brake, your tail light, and that turn signal from one side, and then the other side will simply be the other turn signal. And then there's the battery cable and a ground, and this ground is simply going to, I'll show you that now, bolt. See there's four 10 mil bolts, or those 8, might be 8 mil bolts, that hold the headlight in, or sorry, the tail light in. That's a good enough ground for me, and that's where I'm going to be grounding that. And then I'll just have to extend this main power wire. I think it's like a 12 gauge or a 10 gauge. I think it's 12. So I'm going to have to use another butt connector and splice a chunk of wire into that and run that around to the positive battery cable. And then find a place to mount this, which I think is going to be back up under the carpeting in the very corner. The kit came with some double-sided tape to mount it anyway. But anyway, there's not a heck of a lot other than those connections to show you. The one for the right side is black and green, and it's also the center one on that loom. I'll do that one over there and show you in a minute anyway. Okay, so here's the right side all finished and done. Right side is the black with green wire. So the black and green is the right turn signal, center one, black wire, green stripe. And then I just ran the wire down underneath here. If you can see it in there. You see it? Just down underneath the rear bulkhead and over to the other side to connect up with the converter. And then the power wire from the battery, I just used another shrink wrap, what do you call them? Ring thingy, whatever the hell. My brain's not working today. Like one of these. Why can't I think of what this is called? Because my brain is farting. Anyway, ran that back and hooked that up to the power wire, the positive power wire on here. And now it's just simply a matter of plugging everything back in. This is the right side. Yeah, helps we turn it the right way up. And then just moving the wires around so that they're not in anybody's way and not going to interfere with anything. That's about it. And then you just take the trailer wire and you can just throw it underneath your spare tire cover until you need it, and then just simply flop it out. I checked, there's plenty of room in the tailgate here to plenty of give in the rubber here in the seals to just allow it to plop up under the trunk, and it's not going to hurt anything. So I don't even need to wire it and feed it outside the car and leave it sitting out there in the elements. So it's sitting there, and that's about it. I'm going to finish up. I'm going to mount this, like I said, underneath the side and bolt the eyelet, the ground eyelet. I'm going to bolt that to the tail light. Anyways, long video. Sorry it was so long. It was just an absolute pain in the freaking ass. Except for Canadians, this is probably a damn easy job. But Canadians, sorry, no such luck. Or if you happen to find that, you've bought yourself a Canadian car. If you find these metal panels welded on the inside, bought yourself a Canadian car. Bet you didn't even know it. Now you're 2 kilometers an hour better protected. Thanks for watching.